Hello everyone, welcome to another Music of the Month review. This is for the Music of the Month October in the year 2019, and before we start the thing, I want to say a couple of things. Thank you for everyone who tuned into the Go Home stream of PBW. Really looking forward to seeing how Hard Refinement plays out. And also, Happy Halloween to everyone who had a good Halloween. I know I did, because I just sat around doing nothing, so like every other day. Also have my cat again. Yep. Hey, buddy. And we're going to just like run through all the albums. And obviously, I've already graded some of these on Discord. I did miss a couple of days, and there were just some albums I haven't done yet. I think like the first, 6. I think about the first 8 albums, 7 or 8 albums, I actually did review, like, and give grades. I haven't done the rest, so this is going to be interesting. So we start with Airborne with Boneshaker. Another 3 years passes, another Airborne album comes out, and I know. I often compare when it comes to Airborne albums. I usually compare them to the previous one, and I'm comparing this one to Breaking Out of Hell. I definitely prefer Breaking Out of Hell. Boneshaker's still good. It's still energetic, but it's a bit too short for me. So I'm gonna go and give it a B minus. There is bits of it that feel a bit cliche, and a bit too much like we've heard it all before. From Airborne. Like it's like remembering how different Black Dog Barking was as an album. They're never really going to quite reach that height. But Boneshaker's not terrible, but yeah, it's not really fantastic either. Not bone shaking, shall we say. Next is Altered Bridge with Walk the Sky, my first Altered Bridge album. I'm definitely happy to report that it's a lot better than Airborne's new album. I'm gonna give it an A. Really loved the structuring, really loved how they crammed as much into it as they could. There were bits of it that felt a tiny bit too long, but obviously the production, the performances, and everything else really outweighed that. Yeah, it was actually quite a good surprise. I like how it actually sort of turned out quite well. Next to is Bad Wolves with Nation. Now, I don't exactly remember what grade I gave this one, but I think it was an A minus because this one actually surprised me with how he's cleaning himself, giving himself a bath. But yeah, this one actually surprised me with how good it was because I was a bit disappointed by the last one just basically being the really good cover of Zombie by the Cranberries, and that's it. So I wasn't expecting a lot from the second album, but I was actually I was quite pleasantly thrown. It's nice to see that 11-7 Music can still have good bands on their label. I mean, they got Nothing More on there, and they got Bad Wolves on there. Unfortunately, they still have Papa Roach, which is not, not exactly the best thing. So yeah, A minus. Like, I like the lyrics, especially, were quite good. It's a lot heavier, and therefore a lot more of it sticks in my mind. But it's still got good melody, and also sorry for the hair correcting. I did show it today, so yeah, enjoyable, just fun, good stuff. Next is Brutus with Nest. There's a very good chance that this is a band a lot of people haven't heard of. Um, this is normally came out in March. Once again, further proving that the best music came out in March. A really nice sort of like post-rock project, and I'm gonna give it. I think I give it an A or an A plus. I'm gonna edge and give it an A plus. Yeah, just really enjoyable. Bit too short. There's only like 9 songs, but they fill those songs like surprisingly well. And you know, I mean, how many female post-rock trios can you think of where the female lead singer, is also the drummer of the band? It's such a unique little project, and I sort of enjoy. Well, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, this gets an A plus. Speaking of A pluses, Car Bomb with Mordial. This one came out in September. Um, really enjoyable, sort of mathcore style. Had a lot of time. They filled that time quite well. Really good amount of songs. A lot of it really stuck with me. It didn't really feel like Converge Light, which I'm great with because I love Converge, but I don't want other mathcore bands to try and copy that. Because Converge are their own thing, and Car Bomb are definitely their own thing. I really like this album. It's also got a really nice cover art. Does Mordial. But yeah, absolutely A+. Really, really enjoyable. Really good stuff. Next is The Darkness with Easter is Cancelled, my first album by The Darkness, and the only song I really remember from it is Rock and Roll Deserves to Die, but the album at the end of the day does have good energy. It is the band, their classic style, not taking themselves super duper seriously, but not being exactly super silly with it either. I think I'm going to give it a. I don't remember what grade I initially gave this one, but I think I'll give it a B. Maybe a B plus. I'll edge it up to a B plus because their band are just so likable, and they've been around for such a long time, and still knocking out the things. Still knocking out their sound exactly how they do it. yeah, B plus. I thought this was quite enjoyable. Charming, a bit weird. Even if I don't remember as much of it as I would like to, I apologize. Next is Dream State with Primrose Path. I think this is the last album on this list that I gave a grade 2 on Discord, and that grade was also a B minus. Like the performances and the instrumental work, a lot of that was really good, but the lyrics felt a bit cliche. The production was sort of overbearing in some cases, and the structuring was like there's only 10 songs, but they make those 10 songs feel a lot longer than they should be, without really filling them with enough energy to like satisfy the time that was put into it. But once again, it was still likable enough. Sort of the same problem I had with Bone Shaker by Airborne. Like, it's a bit cliche and we've heard it all before, but it's the good type of hearing it all before, you know? So, yeah, from here on out, all albums so far will be getting new grades, although by the time I'm actually talking about that, by the time I actually post those albums on Discord, they'll probably get completely different grades, because I'm weird. Anyway, next is Insomnium with Heart Like a Grave. Man, I think I'm going to give this a B+. It was just a really good, like, sort of, a long album. It's a really long album, but it does fill that time. It's like, a really good sort of doom metal, like, dark metal, thing, I guess you could call it. It's actually, like, pretty enjoyable. I do remember, like, quite liking it. Not album of the year, like, candidate, but good for, like, people who like the sort of grittier styles of metal. Really good for that. Next is Issues with Beautiful Oblivion, my first Issues album. Issue. Bless you. Sorry. I think I'm gonna give this one probably a B. I not as much of it stuck with me as Insomnium's album did. The performances and like production and everything else were really good, but there was just something. I don't know. It felt like there was something missing. I can't fully put my finger on what. You know. I mean, it was all right. It was okay. It's not great, but not terrible either. Next is Jimmy Eat World with Surviving, and as you know, I did a Jimmy Eat World backtracking episode, and this is their first album since their album in 2016, the name of which I completely forgotten. I'm sorry. Um, Although it was alright, I didn't like it as much as their last album. I feel like there's a bit too much of a pop influence on this one that didn't really stick with me, and it does feel a bit too short at times. I don't really know what to grade this. I think another B, probably B minus. It might be the most suitable for this one. I wanted more out of this one and didn't really get it. But what we did get was passable. It was okay. Next is Ginger with Macro, and my first Ginger album. Spoiler alert, a lot of these are firsts. Uh, Once again, don't really know what to grade this one. I don't even remember listening to it, to be honest. I know it did, otherwise it wouldn't be on this list, but man, I don't remember a damn thing about this one. I think it was just because I was playing catch-ups at the time and, I was in a rush to get everything listened to. Probably a C+. plus. I think that would be a decent grade. I mean, sorry, once again, female-fronted stuff, so I have to be careful. Well, I don't really have to be careful with how I tread. I'm going to tell you it's a C+. plus. It was good, I think. I It's always a bad thing, not a bad album. It's always a bad thing when the music doesn't stick with me, So I think C plus might be fair enough. Probably, I don't know. Next is Junior with Beautiful Life. Junior are sort of new; they're only 5 years old, and they're the result of a wrestler named Mark Andrews, who plays bass and sings co-lead vocals in the song. A really good sort of pop punk band, really fun, enjoyable. The album felt a bit too long to me, in contrast to a friend of mine who said the album felt a bit too short. I was like, there's 14 songs, that's quite long for a pop punk album at least. I think I'm gonna give this one a B. Like, it's good pop punk, but it's about average, sort of. Nothing super groundbreaking, but it is fun. And what we get is, what we get ultimately is quite enjoyable. I know I'm giving out a lot of B's. B's. Sorry. Next is Kubla Khan, or Kubla Khan TX, to give them their full name with Absolute. I think I'm gonna give this an A minus. It was a short album, but like it achieved a lot in the time that it had. It was like really impactful, really good hardcore sort of metalcore thing. Really political. Hey buddy, uh, you keep doing your thing. You adorable ginger, fluffy. Okay. But yeah, this was this was quite enjoyable at the end of the day. Short but sweet, definitely. Well, short but sour mostly because a lot of punch to it, a lot of grit. Really enjoyed this. Next is Lacuna Coil with Black Anima. This was one of the biggest surprises for me. I've my first Lacuna Coil album. I'm gonna give this an A, verging on A plus. I've only heard it once, but damn, a lot of it stuck with me. I might give it an A plus because I actually surprisingly really enjoyed this one. There was just this like fantastic atmosphere to it. Really great performances, really great production, really great lyrics. It felt like there was a little concept, little story. I really loved this one. So yeah, probably A plus. Probably going to be on the best of the year list, maybe. Next is Lagwagon with Railhead. Lagwagon, an old school punk band, pop punk band. And this album is pretty funny. It doesn't take itself too seriously. A bit short, but what we get is pretty decent. I'm gonna give it a B plus. I thought it was fairly enjoyable. Really liked it. Yeah. So yeah, I think B plus is a pretty good thing for it. Not great, not the best month for pop punk, but October was pretty good. Then again, pop punk is usually saved for the summer. October is autumn. There you go. Next is Life of Agony with The Sound of Scars, my first Life of Agony album. I know they're a band that have been around technically for a long time, and I think this is their first or one of the first albums since the lead singer came out as transgender. And to be honest, yeah, this album actually kind of kicks ass. I'm going to give it an A. I really enjoy this. Really good grunge, not the slow type like L7, but the good type, the more type. And I like this sort of little story because there was this like little skits that were going on about someone like trying to sort out his life, I guess. I don't fully remember that, but what I do remember is that this album was really good, so it gets an A. I think it absolutely deserves that. Next is the Menzingers with Hello Exile, my first Menzingers album. Apparently, their last one, called After the Party, was quite good. I haven't listened to that, but I thought, you know what, they have a new one coming out, I'll listen to it. And, I forgot to mention, Junior's Beautiful Life came out in August. My bad. But yeah, I thought it was okay punk rock, I thought neither here nor there in terms of how good or bad it was. I liked it. Wasn't crazy about it, but I liked it, so I'm gonna give it I think a B. Yeah, I think B is like a pretty solid grade to give it. Next is Miss June with Bad Luck Party. This one came out in September. I'm gonna give this also an A. This was really good, like female-fronted punk rock. I really, really enjoyed this album. Also, the cover art for it is just really cool. Yeah, really, really good stuff was Miss June, Bad Luck Party. Like, good lyrics, good, like, overall sound and structuring. Just, had a satisfying ending as well, so, you know, anything that doesn't end like Season 8 of Game of Thrones, I'm perfectly fine with. Next is Norma Jean with All Hail. I'm super late to the bus with this band. I know that Norma Jean are often praised for how hard they work, and All Hail was really good. I think I'm going to give this one an A as well. I mean, it's no surprise that Norma Jean are as fantastic as they are. I'm not going to give it an A plus because I don't have a lot to compare it to, but then again, I've given a lot of other albums A pluses that I don't have a lot to compare to, so might as well give this one an A plus too. Probably. Does it deserve it? Fuck it, why not? Yeah, I liked Norma Jean's All Hail. Really enjoyable. I like the cover art. I love it. Stuck with me. So good stuff all around. Next is this is a band name and a half. Prince Daddy and the Hyena with their new album Cosmic Thrill Seekers. This is their second one. This one came out in June, and it gets an A plus. Not just for the band name because that is absolutely fantastic, but because a lot of it sort of like I saw people comparing this to Pup's album Morbid Stuff, and I remember thinking, "Oh, I like Morbid Stuff like Pup. It's a really good album. I'll listen to this one," and I did. And I'm like, it does remind you of it, but it's not a complete rip-off or anything. It's actually super enjoyable in its own way. Once again, like it's heartfelt, it's real, and it's really authentic. And yeah, I absolutely A plus for this one too. Really liked it. Really enjoyable. Really fun. Just a really fun, kind of dumb, but dumb in a good way. Well, actually, it's not dumb. It's actually quite intelligent. So yeah, good emo, sort of pop punk emo. If you're really looking for that stuff. Almost finished. I promised. Promise. Sorry. Next is Refused with War Music. My first Refused album. I know they reformed a few years ago, actually. Not a few years ago, because they did release another album in 2015, and there was some time between that. But, yeah, Refused with War Music. I'm gonna give this an 8. I absolutely really enjoy this really good hardcore punk. Like, you know, the sort of stuff you would expect from a band like Refused, or have the reputation that they have for being as experimental as they are. I've seen a lot of I've seen a lot of critics like say that this album regresses a bit to their old sound, and as someone who's never listened to their older sound, except for a few songs here and there, I'm okay with that. You know, I mean, it's a good sound if it's if it manages to stick with a lot of the punk community for so long. So not really a lot of complaints. So yeah, gets an A. Saint Asonia with Flawed Design, my first Saint Asonia album. Their first was in 2015, and Saint Asonia, for those who are familiar, or those who aren't, is Adam Gontier's new band after he left 3 Days Grace. And although this was okay, I thought it was a bit slow. It does take a while to get going. It doesn't really have a lot of hard-hitting tracks, but I'll be damned if Adam Gontier isn't still one of my favourite singers. I think I'm just going to give it a B, though. Not as much of it stuck with me as I wanted to. It wasn't as heavy as I wanted it to be, but what we got was still ultimately pretty good. I'm not going to complain with that, so, you know, it does the good things really, really good, so that's all you need. Next is Thousand Blow Within Your Wake. Sort of a really good alternative rock punk sort of project thing. This is another album I don't remember a lot listening to a lot of. I remember like hearing a random song and thinking, oh, I'll probably add it, you know, for October, and I did. And I think I'm gonna give it a B minus probably. Not as much of it stuck with me as I wanted to, but what we got once again, fairly enjoyable. You know, not gonna complain. Next is Tooth Grinder with I Am, and apparently Tooth Grinder's last album was really, really good, so I went to listen to the new one, and yeah, I mean, you know, it's got a good start and a good ending. Some of the middle is a bit tricky, but Tooth Grinder are definitely an interesting band to look at. Really sort of good alternative metal project. Some prog going in there too, because they have such a weird style that I can't really put my finger on properly. But hell, super enjoyable, so I'm going to give it an A minus, I think. I actually quite liked this album. I'll give it an A minus. Hey, kitty. Yeah, I think that's a fair grade to give Tooth Grinders I Am. And I don't remember exactly what album like number this is. I think it's their third or fourth. But yeah, there you go. Next is Unprocessed with Artificial Void, and I absolutely agree with the rock critic Crash Thompson that Unprocessed is not a great name for a band. But still really good, like German metal. I think they're German at least. Really good metal. You know, the nationality doesn't really matter. Really heavy, really stuck with me quite a lot. I think I'm gonna give this also an A minus. Yeah, I think an A minus is a pretty fair grade to give it as well. You know, I wanted a bit more of it to stick with me, but it fills its time really well. It's still good. It's still really good, and you know, it's an interesting thing to listen to. And we end with Varials Within Darkness. I forgot to mention that Artificial Void by Process came out in August. Sorry, I keep forgetting to mention that. Varials Within Darkness. Pretty good. I think this was metal. Yeah, like a really good sort of metalcore project. Not as much of it stuck with me as I wanted to, but it was still pretty enjoyable. I think I'm gonna give this also a B. This has been a very B heavy episode of Music of the Month, but yeah, you know, like it was enjoyable, and but not as much of it stuck with me as most other albums. So yeah, I think a B. You know, a B is. I think that's a pretty good grade to give this. So yeah, you know, that's a lot of albums covered. I'm not going to count them all because that would make the video even longer. All I will say is that you know, thank you to everyone who's watched this now, and to everyone who tuned into PPW. Can't wait for Harsh Environment. I'll probably see you on the weekend for a Fight of the Night if there is one to review. Albums I would absolutely recommend you listen to from October. Definitely Carbone with Mordial, Lacuna Coil, Prince Daddy and the Hyena, because, you know, the name alone, and also Brutus, and we'll throw Miss June on there as well. Those are the 5 I would definitely take mostly from this month that you should listen to. Even though some of them do come from previous months, but what you gotta do. Anyway, I'll see you all for the next video, most likely this weekend. If not, it's going to be Harsh Environment. Looking forward to that. And I should do Harsh Environment on Sunday, actually. Might do that. Anyway, I'll see you all for the next video I wind up doing, whatever that is. As always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye bye.